Alright, everybody, what's up? It's time to talk about Overlord. Now, Overlord, I'm not sure if it'll get a second season, but, this particular season I thought was really good. I think the last couple episodes definitely ramped it up an extra level. Um, if you notice, I didn't have too many live reactions done for Overlord before I dropped it. Dropped the live reactions, not Overlord. I didn't drop Overlord. And that's because I mentioned it already, but I'll mention it one more time for the record, and that's the reason I didn't do too many live reactions for Overlord was because even though I very much enjoyed the episodes, I wasn't reacting in such a way that I feel like it would have entertained anybody. Um, because I'm basically just sit there. That's cool. That's cool. Cool. Nice. And then occasionally you'll get that nice or the fuck. Like that's not entertaining. Um, not in my opinion. So anyway, let's talk about Overlord, the series. Live reactions aside. So Overlord was the last of the season. You know, pretty much wrapped up the season for me because Dragon Ball Super and Ushio Totora are continuing on throughout the next season and beyond for Super. But for this season, the anime season completely ended for me um, when Overlord's final episode was aired. And so, Overlord had 13 episodes, and I think every each of them were definitely worth something. Um, I will say that from my from my impressions video till now, my opinion of it has gone up. And one of the things I talked about I think, one of my live reactions or my impressions video is about the Nazareth Gold, about how I thought they should just melt it down. And now I understand why they didn't melt it down. Somebody told me in the comment section that it needed to be used for something, uh, and now I understand what you meant. Whoever it was that said that to me, so thanks. But now I understand. Anyway, uh, basic plot. A guy gets trapped in Momonga gets trapped in an unknown world, whether or not it's an it's an open world RPG or MMO. We don't know. We still don't know as of the anime. Um, he was like one of the best players in Yggdrasil. I think that's how you pronounce it. But in that MMO, and then because he stayed to the very end, um, he sort of got stuck in another world, which was sort of a new take on the stuck in a virtual reality trope for these type of anime. I think they did it better than Sword Art Online because it didn't after a second, like after like the first couple episodes, it didn't really feel like an MMO. So I'm kind of glad that they did that because it just felt more like a fantasy, which was cool. Um, because the MMO things started getting old. I mean, Dot Hack started the trend, and then you had freaking Sword Art Online, which revitalized the trend, and now Overlord, sort of deviating away from the tropes in that, but whatever. So throughout this season, you know, Momonga, spoilers. Momonga basically remained the strongest character as of right now. Um, even Shaltir was very powerful, but really Momonga was just that much stronger than her. It was just obvious. Um, Even though he struggled so much because of type advantage, it didn't matter. He had not only the plans, but the power to deal the damage because he had all of Nazareth's armor, and weapons, so it's not like he really would have lost. Anyway, I know I say that a lot, but moving on. I think when they start to get to the nitty gritty of the plot, I think it works. Um, Trying to make a name for Momonga or Ainzo Gon, whatever, or Ainzo-sama, you know, for Ainz, or I call him Momonga because that's what I believe his name is right now. And we still have not seen Momonga's face. We don't see what he actually looks like, which again I think is good because it still keeps that mystery, and it keeps us more immersed in Momonga himself online instead of the real him. Um, it's an immersion thing where you know it's not really him, uh, but since you don't have any other images to attach Momonga to, that skeleton face is what he looks like to you. Like when you say Momonga, that's what he looks like. Um, Whereas in something like Sword Art Online, we know what Kirito looks like. Um, Even from Jump Street, I think we know what Kirito looks like. And even though everybody calls him Kirito, not uh, Kirigaya, we know what he looks like. So you can still associate that. You can't associate anything but that skeleton face and maybe the armor mask to Momonga because we haven't seen that. So I think it's a minor thing, but it works. Um, Now, the other characters, Albedo was great. This just hopelessly in love trope. It's sort of like a yandere, but it's a little bit different. Maybe in the manga it might be, or I think it's a visual novel first before it is or a light novel. I don't know which. It might be a VN before it's a manga. I can't remember, but um, if you watch the ending, not the ending of the show, but like the ending credits theme, and you look at the lyrics, that shit is batshit. And that's supposed to be told from Albedo's side. Um, Granted, Momonga was the one who programmed her that way, but whatever. Nabero was pretty good. All of the servants, Shaltir, all of them were great. Not great, but they worked for what they were supposed to be. Um, the people at the guild were fine. In general, just everybody was fine. But Momonga himself was awesome. Uh, some might call him a Mary Sue. I don't know. I don't know what the consensus on Momonga is. But I think he just fucking works. Um, I don't think he's a Mary Sue because he does make mistakes from time to time. But he always comes back from them, and it's just the fact that he's been through so much shit in the previous MMO. He knows all this shit. He's just gotten to the point where he's powerful. It's not like he started off that way, and it's not like fate, follows him or whatever. Um, you know, he's just very experienced, but he happens to be the main character at the same time. So it sort of breaks the trope of, the character has to grow in a adventure fantasy type of setting. In fact, it's breaking that trope because he has already grown by the time Overlord begins. So he's kind of already gone through that adventure. So it's definitely different in that way. I don't think it's bad that he doesn't have to grow yet. I say yet because you never know what could come over the horizon. Because whether or not Overlord will get a second season, I don't know. But it's possible. So, um, you know, I really do like Manga. and I thought, like I said, the plot is pretty good. It's nothing spectacular, but it works for what it is. Uh, you'll find me saying that a lot about this anime. The anime works for what it is. Um, it's a fantasy type of adventure type of thing, and it does exactly that. I mean, it has its own charm, and Momonga's very likable, and he's just cool. Uh, the villains were pretty interesting for the most part, and we still have an unknown villain who's able to control not Barrel, Shaltir, and we still don't know what's going on with Sebas because he could still get rammed by that same thing. So yeah, I mean, overall the series was pretty good. Um, I hope it gets second season because I'll definitely watch. So that'll about do it. Thank you guys for listening and watching, and we'll see you guys in another video.